Welcome to Far East Wargaming, bringing you another Horus Heresy battle report. This week we are bringing you another 30-minute version, but it's because we've got a new army on the channel, and as with all new armies, our rules are a tiny bit iffy.
Well, it's not just that, but it's also the army that we're bringing for you, which I'm very happy, I'm very excited to actually bring this to you. I know I say I'm excited all the time, but really, truly, I am excited. It's the first part of our Thousand Suns commission, painted by a very talented painter by the name of Bang here in Malaysia. It is very infantry heavy. It is not optimized whatsoever, and as a result, we're doing the 30 minutes version of our battle report.
Yep.
And we're also playing a Centurion style list, so you're not going to see any vehicles on the table.
Exactly. So I'll be playing the Emperor's Children Traitors in a fully Centurion list. What are you bringing totally?
I'm bringing 2,000 points of Thousand Suns, backed up by 1,000 points of Iron Hands allies, all as loyalists. Now, on the Iron Hands list, we do have some javelins, which you typically would not necessarily say are part of Centurion, but we're going to go ahead and use it for this particular match because we need some firepower because the Thousand Suns, what we have painted so far is the first part of the commission is actually missing all of the heavy weapons and all of the walkers, so this gives us a little bit of punch to be able to compete. Yeah,
we definitely wanted to get on the channel as soon as possible, hence why we're bringing you this.
Yep.
We're playing a game of Dominion, and we're using the Vanguard Strike deployment.
Yep.
We rolled off, and Jason, you won.
I did win, and I elected to go first and deploy first, but you never know. There could always be a sneaky seize. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's see. Let's hope for a seize, because I think it's going to be coming down to quite vital shooting for the Emperor's Children. We're not a close combat army this time. Anyway, we'll see you with the armies next, and we'll catch you in the postgame. Here we have 3,000 points of Loyalist Thousand Suns with Iron Hands allies. Leading the Thousand Suns, we have a Praetor in Tartarus Terminator armor. He is equipped with a Combi Bolter and Thunderhammer. His Cult Arcana is Raptora, and his Psychic Discipline is Biomancy. Accompanying him is a 5-man Tartarus Terminator command squad. One of the Terminators has been upgraded with a Chain Fist. 3 have been upgraded with the Thunderhammer, and the Standard Bearer has also been upgraded with a Thunderhammer. For elites, we have a 2-man Apothecarian detachment. Both have been upgraded with Artificer armor, and 1 has been upgraded with a Power Sword. For the second elite's choice, we have a Kentai Occult Cabal. This is 10-man strong. They have all been upgraded with Asphex bolt pistols. 9 have Kentai blades, and the Kentai Blade Master has Artificer armor. For troops, we have a Sekhmet Terminator Cabal, whose Cult Arcana is Pavoni. They are all wielding Combi Bolters and Akai Force Axes. The second troop slot is a 5-man Terminator Tartarus squad. The Sergeant is equipped with Chain Fist and Combi Bolter. The remaining Tartarus Terminators are all equipped with twin Lightning Claws. Their Cult Arcana is Raptora. Next, we have a 10-man Tactical Support Squad. The entire squad has been upgraded with rotor cannons. The Sergeant is in Artificer armor, and one of the Legionnaires has been upgraded with an Augury Scanner. Their Cult Arcana is Athenaean. Finally, for the troops, we have 2 identical veteran squads. These are both 10 strong. The Sergeants have both been upgraded with Artificer armor and Power Fist. Both of their Cult Arcanas are Pavoni. The allied Iron Hands are led by a Master of Signals with Cyber Familiar upgrade. For elites, there is a single Apothecary in Artificer armor. The second elite's choice is a Contemptor Dreadnought with Gravis Las Cannon, Gravis Power Fist with inbuilt Meltagun. For troops, there is a 10-man tactical squad. The sergeant has been upgraded with artificer armor and power fists, and one of the legionnaires has been upgraded with a legion vexilla. For fast attack, we have 2 javelin land speeders. Both have cyclone missile launchers and pintle-mounted multi-melters, as well as 2 hunter-killer missiles each. Finally, there is a 10-man heavy support squad. These have been upgraded with missile launchers. The sergeant has been upgraded with artificer armor. One of the legionnaires has been upgraded with an augury scanner, and another legionnaire has been upgraded with a legion vexilla. This rounds off 3,000 points of Thousand Suns with allied Iron Hands. Here we have 3,000 points of Traitor Emperor's Children. The warlord for this force is a Legion Praetor with master-crafted Paragon Blade and Thunderhammer. He is accompanied by a 5-man Phoenix Terminator retinue. The sergeant has been upgraded to a standard bearer, replacing his Phoenix Spear with a Phoenix Rapier. For the second HQ, we have a Legion Champion with Paragon Blade and Warhawk Jump Pack. The third HQ is a standard Master of Signals. For Elite, we have a 3-man Apothecarian detachment. All have been upgraded with Artificer armor, and one has been upgraded with a Warhawk Jump Pack. The second elite slot is a 3-strong Contemptor Dreadnought Talon. All have Gravis Power Fists with inbuilt melter guns. 2 have been upgraded with Gravis Melter Cannons, and 1 has been upgraded with a Kerry's Assault Cannon. The third elite's choice is a 10-man Palatine Blade Aquila Squad. The Prefector has been upgraded with a Phoenix Spear. 4 others have been upgraded with Phoenix Spears, and 5 have been upgraded with Phoenix Rapiers. The entire squad has Sonic Shriekers. For troops, we start with 2 identical 10-man tactical squads. The sergeants have been upgraded with Artificer armor and Power Fist. One of the legionnaires in each unit has been upgraded as a Legion Vexilla. The third troop slot is another 10-man tactical squad. This time, the sergeant has been upgraded with Artificer armor and a chainsword. The final troop slot is a 10-man tactical support squad. This squad has been upgraded with plasma guns. The sergeant has been upgraded with Artificer armor. In heavy support, we have a 10-man heavy support squad. The unit has been upgraded with missile launchers. The sergeant has been upgraded with Artificer armor, and one of the legionnaires has been upgraded with an augury scanner. And the final unit for this force is a 10-man Cacophony squad. The orchestrator has been given Artificer armor and subsonic pulsar. This rounds up 3,000 points of Traitor Emperor's Children. And the battlefield for today's game is an industrial outpost style board with some buildings scattered throughout. For our Dominion game, we have the 5 objectives, all in no man's land, so not in the deployment zone, and we've been quite fair and placed them all more or less down the center line. There's quite a few line of sight blockings for this Centurion style game, and we'll see you in the game.
So deployment for the Loyalist Thousand Suns and their Iron Hands allies. We'll start on my right flank. So I have a veteran squad here, and thanks to the Pavoni Cult Arcana, they're going to be moving pretty quickly, hopefully to put some pressure on an objective immediately. Right next to them is the Kentai Blade Occults to allow them to also have some extra punch nearby. My Iron Hands Contemptor with the las cannons and the Melta is kind of facing that direction as well. Next to them we have the Sekhmet, who have a choice to go up the middle or support the right flank as necessary. Also from the allies of the Iron Hands, we have the Heavy Support Squad with Missile Launcher, Master of Signals, and an Apothecary back here to kind of cover most of the board and hopefully get some shots off. We have the Javelins from the Allied detachment as well. Again, they're in the middle, so they have flexibility to go either direction as needed. Thousand Suns support squad with the rotor cannons. Rotor cannons aren't the greatest things, but hopefully with their Cult Arcana and the shell shock on the weapons, they might be able to pin something relatively quickly. Then we have the command squad and the Praetor all in Tartarus armor, ready to go middle, left, or right, and swing some hammers and give some love to the Emperor's children. Iron Hands, the troop choice from that Allied detachment, is the tactical squad here. Also want to go up as fast as they can to try and get close to objectives. Supported by a standard Tartarus squad of the Thousand Suns, mostly with claws. And then finally we have the second veteran squad here on my left flank. And again, thanks to the Pavoni Cult Arcana, they're going to be able to move really, really fast, really quickly. And they've also got an Apothecary supporting them. So I think with this deployment, fingers crossed, I can put pressure on 3, possibly 4 objectives in the very first turn, but we'll see what happens in just a minute.
For the Emperor's Children deployment, we only have 4 scoring, so we have to be very strategic in where we place them. So we've decided to start with a standard tactical squad with their Vixilla and Artificer Sergeant on our right flank. And they are supported by the 10-man Palatine Blade Aquila squad with the Apothecary and Champion attached to it to give them some punching power and protect some objectives. Next to them is another tactical squad with the same loadout as their brethren next to them. And then we also have the 10-man Cacophony squad. And we've gone a bit different here. We've got an Apothecary as standard, but we've attached the Master of Signals to give them a bit more shooty power. And rolling those 2s there. In the middle, we have a tactical support squad with plasma guns who are hiding from the initial salvo of fire because we are going second. In the back line, we have a 10-man heavy support squad with missile launchers. They're elevated, most of them, 8 of the 10 are elevated to give some line of sight bonuses there, with 2 on the ground, adding cohesiveness. And then finally, in the middle here, we have the 3 strong Contemptor Talon, 2 of them with Meltas, 1 of them with Akeres, all of them supporting Fist with Meltas inside. The command squad of Phoenix Terminators with the Praetor is using them as cover because they are also scoring and they need to find a way to get to an objective. And finally, on our very far left flank, pretty solo to be honest, is our other 10-man tactical squad with the sergeant with a chainsword only and no Vexilla in this one. They're hoping to go uncontested towards an objective, but we'll have to see what the Thousand Suns do. We'll be up with the Seize the Initiative and turn 1 next.
So, as always, we have the obligatory fist bump. Good luck, sir.
Good luck to you too.
And you also have a seize, I believe.
I do! And let's see if I manage to seize this.
Oh
my god!
There
is the seize, A6. Whether that's a blessing or a curse, we will see. I do like the extra round of shooting. So, we'll be back with Emperor's Children, turn 1 next. So, turn 1 movement for the Emperor's Children. And we've had to be a bit cagey. We started with our Palatine Blade Aquila squad, who have used their jump pack and run the full distance there to get behind cover, because we can't score with them, and it's pretty certain that this objective in front of them is going to be taken by the Thousand Suns in turn 1, and we want to be able to countercharge. With that in mind, we've also moved our tactical squad up, their full distance. I decided not to run them because I want them to be able to shoot in the shooting phase, because it's really going to come down to shooting in at least turn 1 to see if I can whittle down as much as possible of the Thousand Suns there. The same can be said for our second tactical squad. We are short on scoring, so we need to protect them as much as we can. They've moved into cover while still being able to get some shots off potentially if the targets are there. The Cacophony squad has been bold. They've got some height for a few of them and moved through getting some cover
for a few of them as well to be able to shoot at a wide variety of targets because they have subsonic pulsars. They're not losing their ballistic skill or suffering from night fighting. That doesn't really matter for fearlessness, but that Master of Signals is going to be allowing them to get some juicy shots off. For the Contemptors, we split them already. We took 2 down the middle because they're going to have to hold the center. They can't score, but they can deny and they can cause havoc. So we're taking them up the front. With the Plasma Squad peeking around the side, sadly they're not in range of anything at this point in time. I kept them back because I thought I was having second turn, and I would have stuff in range from 1,000 Suns, but now I have to put them in there. They're going to be a bit vulnerable for the next shooting phase from 1,000 Suns, but we will see what happens. We are playing hide and go seek with our command squad. There's a lot of melter and crack in the other side and a las cannon that I don't want to kill this valuable unit because they are scoring, and instant death and AP2 is the bane for these guys. So as much cover as possible. The last Contemptor has come around the side of this silo so that he can support this tactical squad because they are pretty vulnerable on their own out here. And that said tactical squad has decided to try and take the initiative here and has run onto the objective. There's a few covering it. They can't shoot, but hopefully there's not going to be much left after our shooting phase to charge them. We'll see what happens in Emperor's Children's turn 1 shooting phase. Shooting phase for the Emperor's Children, and we kicked it off with using our tactical squad just firing their 10 bolter rounds into the 4 veterans that were visible here. Unfortunately, there was no wounds caused, so they are unscathed. But then it got interesting. The cacophony in the middle of the board decided that their target was going to be the veteran squad all the way on this right-hand side flank. And it was pretty devastating, right? I think I caused 4 wounds initially for this, guys.
Yep.
Not including the sergeant. And
you killed 4 models, actually, is what it was.
Yeah, 4 models.
4 models, yeah, because those are veterans with 2 wounds.
Oh, you're right. Veterans with 2 more. And then I only lost 1 cacophony in return, so my rolling was pretty hot for the saves. I had a lot of 1s.
You had a lot of 1s, but passed a bunch of the feel no pains.
Exactly. And then I decided that the 2 Contemptors were also going to follow suit and help out.
Killing another, I believe it was 2 more, thanks to the multi-melta.
Exactly. And then I think I shot 1 melter into this squad here and killed 1. The missile launchers in the back. I had to decide, honestly debating whether frag was the right option or crack was the right option, because I was targeting that unit of, what are these called again?
Those are the Kentai Bladed Colts?
Yeah, the Kentai Bladed Colts. And they were tightly packed, but I decided that shooting the crack was probably a better idea, and it actually paid off because I caused 4 wounds and you lost your sergeant on the first roll.
I lost my sergeant on the first roll trying to tank, and then 3 more guys failed the shroud that I declared for the unit, so I lost 5 total.
Yeah, and then we had the very last thing was the Contemptor here, shot his melter into these guys, taking another 2 off, leaving you with only 2, and in the subsequent break checks,
I failed.
Yeah.
Yep, so that veteran squad is no more. They failed the check and the last 2 members ran off the table. Thankfully, the Kentai Bladed Cult stuck, or this entire right flank would have crumbled really quickly.
Yeah. So honestly, very successful phase for the Emperor's Children. There is no assault, so we'll be back with turn 1 from the 1,000 Suns.
Turn 1 movement for the 1,000 Suns, and man, it got ugly really quick this game. So starting on my right flank, I have no choice but to go run the Kentai Bladed Cult. They did successfully activate their special power, giving them +1 movement, weapon skill, etc. I'm trying to go over there. Rich did react to it, coming towards me, which is kind of smart because I can't charge since I ran, and you're no longer clumped up for frags.
Exactly. I was worried about some frags potentially coming in from the missile launchers in the back line.
Yep.
But also, I wanted to get within rapid fire range for a potential Fury of the Legion next turn, because they do scare me in close combat.
Good plan, good plan. I had the Contemptor that shuffled this way right. The reason why he moved in this direction was I didn't want to get too close to your Contemptor, and I wanted to be able to have different targets to choose from to shoot at. whether it's the tactical squad, the cacophony, or other contemptors with the las cannons. The Kentai, or excuse me, the Sekhmet Terminators here just decided to hug the building away from the cacophony's line of sight and also trying to protect themselves from the enemy contemptors a bit. The missiles, of course, stayed still because they're going to be doing some shooting. The javelins reposition themselves back a bit, again, also giving them options on what they want to shoot. They can shoot at tactical marines, they can shoot at cacophony, they can shoot at plasma gunners, they can shoot at a lot of different things. The command squad went ahead and moved up forward, and the reason why is I have pinning combi bolters, and I might be able to actually pin something with a couple shots. We'll see what happens. The rotor cannons were actually in a really good position, and what I decided to do is I'm going to gamble. I moved this direction so that I could draw a line of sight straight into about 5 of the Palatine Aquilas over there. If I get lucky, thanks to the psychic ability, thanks to the shell shock, and thanks to Night Fight, I could pin that unit, and that would be absolutely huge. The Iron Hands attack squad ran this way. They got as close to get to that objective marker, so that's very good for me, putting pressure there, and they're also pretty protected from most shooting. I debated what to do with the Tartarus, but eventually they just moved forward their standard 7. They did not run. I didn't want to trigger any reactions, so that's why I went as far as I did. And then finally, the Pavoni-equipped veterans on my left flank activated that ability successfully at the start of the turn, and they used it to get extra movement. And now they're also on that objective as well. So good that I have pressure on 2 objectives, but really bad losing that unit of veterans in the first turn and half of my Kentai Blade. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can shoot back and answer a bit. Shooting for the Thousand Suns and Iron Hands, and it didn't go as well as I had hoped, but it went kind of okay. So starting on my right flank, we went ahead and shot the Contemptor. Due to the night fighting range limitations, we wanted to shoot over here at the Tactical Marines, and he did evaporate 2 of them with his dual las cannon. Next up was the Sekhmet Termes, who did have range to that same tac squad, but unfortunately, even though we scored 4 hits, we didn't manage to kill anybody. The missile launchers debated what to do, and in the end, we decided to play the mission and try and get Rich off of that objective, and we fired crack missiles into the TAC Marines because of how spread out he was. Rich managed to roll very, very well, and he only lost 2 guys from the 10 crack missiles that came in there, and he managed to also pass the check, and they didn't break, unfortunately.
That Shroud save I elected to do really helped.
Yes, the Shroud helped a lot. You've been rolling very hot on Shrouds and feel no pains.
Yeah.
Coming to the middle, like a moron, I realized too late that I had moved my javelins out of range because it is night fighting and they can only shoot 24 inches. So it is what it is. We're not doing a take back on that. The command squad managed to have 4 of their members that were in line of sight and range to shoot at the tactical squad over there. And this is huge because we managed to actually pin that squad, causing 2 casualties, and then they failed their pinning check due to the Stoic Defender warlord trait that we have on that unit. So that's big. That saves me from a lot of bolter shots, as well as a unit that can contest or claim an objective. This squad of Tartarus obviously only had 1 guy, and he wasn't able to do anything. The Iron Hands tactical squad had run, so they couldn't shoot. The veteran squad over on the left side, however, did not run, and they did elect to shoot, and they managed to kill 2 more of that exact same squad. Again, that squad was pinned already, but we wanted to try and force a break check, and Rich was successful in actually doing that.
Skin of the teeth on
Skin of the teeth. But then it came down to the one that we really wanted to go off, which was the rotor cannons attempting to pin the Palatine Aquilas. And we'll actually come back with that on camera because we filmed it because it was such a pivotal moment. So we've elected to film this because it is the rotor cannons, and this could be actually a very critical situation in the game. They have the Athenian Cult Arcana, which is the one that actually adds another -1 to pinning checks. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that on the camera as well. I need to go ahead and get a 7 because it's night fight. Come on, baby, pass, please. And it's a 6. It is successful. So
Lucky.
Yes, this could be bad if I can pin, but let's see what happens. I do have a lot of shots coming. I have a grand total of 30 shots from these rotor cannons. So what I'm going to do is 3, 4, 5. I'm going to roll these in 2 batches of 15. So here's the first batch hitting on 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not very good. And the second batch of 15. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that was 11. So that was not very good. Would have been good if it was on 3s.
Yeah, and wounding on 5s now, right?
Yeah, wounding on 5s. So this is where it comes. Let's see what happens. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Not bad. 4 saves, sir.
4 saves. They're all 2-ups. So
Yep.
I'm just going to take these. And they also have an apothecary there, so
Yes.
5 gun of pain.
Yes. We
There's
did get a 1.
I need this 5 up, otherwise there's a pinning check. There's 1 wound on a guy, but the pinning check is the key.
At -3, 1 for Night Fight, 1 for Shell Shock, and 1 for the Athenaean or Athenian Cult
6?
Arcana. On a 6, or you're pinned.
6!
Oh!
Oh, we're lucky. We take a wound, but the most important part is we saved this.
Yeah, so it would have been beautiful if you'd been pinned. Oh well.
Turn 2 for the Emperor's Children, and I will say we were lucky there. We only had 1 unit, which was our tactical squad, pinned, so they're unable to do anything in this movement phase. But I think the vital thing is we managed to save our Palatine Blade Aquillas from that nasty rotor cannon -3 leadership penalty thing. And we've got aggressive. We have come after their scoring. We didn't want to leave them on the points, so we're prepping for a charge and maybe a multi-charge. We don't know yet. Then we had to be a bit aggressive with our other tactical squad because, again, his Iron Hands are within scoring distance, so we've had to do the same thing on the other side to cancel out that scoring. It's a play the mission game, but it's also left us in rapid fire range with the majority of guys on the command squad. How effective bolters are against Terminators is definitely a question, but we have something else that can deal with that. Our Contemptor with the Melter Cannon moved up, so there's at least 2 shots coming in to whittle some guys down, hopefully. For the Cacophony in the back, we have already whittled down 1 of his scoring units on our left hand, his right hand flank. That veteran squad is dead. So we moved back to where we started to get in position to potentially shoot the other veteran squad and see how much damage we can do there. It might free us up to have a nice charge on the Tartarus if everything goes according to plan. Now, the Contemptor with the Kerry's assault cannon moved up, and that caused you to have a reaction, right?
Yeah, I reacted away for a couple different reasons. Number one, if I didn't, you were going to be very close to charging me, and I'd prefer to be charging you. Although with those force axes, I think I can actually do the work either way, but still it would be good to be the one charging. But the other reason why I also wanted to move away is because your plasma gunners, if I was in my current position, I might have had a couple of guys that would have been in line of sight of them. So I also was able to reposition and put the building between me and your plasma.
Yes. My command squad have been a bit more daring. They have moved in, so 1, the lead guy, is within scoring range of the objective, just touching that 3 inches from the objective there. So he is vulnerable, but I think we have enough ablative wounds to potentially at least score another point in the next round. The Plasma Squad, as you saw, moved up, and they're within shooting range as well of the Terminators. Sadly, not his Kontekar over here. And
My Sekhmet.
Sekhmet. Yep. And then we have the final Contemptor. He moved forward. There was no more reaction, so really little this unit could do. And of course, our tactical squad is already on the objective, so they wish to do nothing and Fury the Legion in our shooting phase. Again, heavy support squad stays where it is, doing what it needs to do. We'll be back with the shooting phase next. Shooting phase for the Emperor's Children, and honestly, it was successful again, I have to say. So we started by targeting this veteran squad with our Cacophony because they were the biggest threat. They were on scoring position, they were close to our Palatine Blade Aquila squad. We managed to kill 2.5 guys, so 5 wounds there. But most importantly, as you can see, we managed to pin them. And the pinning is the key there. They have no reactions left for this. We didn't do anything with the pinned squad in the middle, but our other tactical squad unleashed its rapid fire into the command squad, managed to cause 1 wound. And this was added to it by both the Plasma Squad and the Contemptor, managing to kill a total of 2 of the command squad Tartarus Terminators.
Yep, and I even activated my advanced reaction to try and get a 3-up from the Contemptor's Melter Cannon, and sadly it was just not very successful.
Yeah. The rotor cannons in the back were targeted by our missile launcher squad, and they elected to shoot crack. Only 5 guys were actually in range, and we managed to kill 2, including the sergeant.
Of course, I failed the Artificer Armor on the very first roll, killing him and one of his buddies.
Yeah. Then moving on to our Contemptor. Our Contemptor fired its carries and its inbuilt melter gun at the other Terminators over here, managing to cause 2 wounds, killing 1 guy.
Yep, you killed 1 segment.
Yeah. And then rounding off our shooting phase, we had the Melter Cannon and the Melter in the Fist kill 2 guys over here, with our Furying of the Legion tactical squad managing to do no wounds on that squad as well. You guys took break checks, right?
Yep, we did. The Kentai blades, they did not fail, thankfully, so they're still there. The command squad, even better, also did not fail, so they are still there. And that was the only checks I had to take. But it was pretty good shooting from you, and I think your assault is probably going to be pretty nasty in just a moment.
And we'll be back with that next. For the assault phase, for the Emperor's Children, we started with the Contemptor. And as you can see, the Contemptor didn't successfully get there. I think he needed a 9. He rolled a 6, so moved 3 forward there. So he's out in the open, and these guys have a few options in their next turn. Let's see what they do. But the more interesting part, the Palatine Blade Aquila squad charged into the veterans. And as you can see, the carnage was one-sided. It was painful. I was actually very lucky because I was close enough that rolling 2 1s on my charge move still got me in with my +2 of my jump hacks there. And I got no wounds on the way back in, and consolidated to try and act as a blocker for these Tartarus Terminators. Whether that's a wise decision next turn is up to us to see, but I kind of wanted to stop them from getting at my scoring units because these are non-scoring. We'll be back with the Thousand Suns turn next.
Turn 2 for the Thousand Suns, and I'm already down 1-0 because Rich did score this objective at the beginning of his last turn, 2. I moved the last of the Blade Occult over here because I need to go try and get them off of that objective. Rich elected not to react. I also activated their special ability, giving them +1 movement, +1 weapon skill, +1 attacks, so that should help in the combat. Both the Iron Hands Contemptor and the Sekhmet here moved up because we've got to deal with that Contemptor. Otherwise, there's going to be some more scoring happening over here with the command squad. And plus, it's always better to charge than not be charged, so we're going to play aggressive. Missile launchers, of course, stayed still, ready to do whatever they need to do. The rotor cannons here just shuffled about a bit to minimize the number of guys that could be shot by other stuff, but still allow me to shoot everything into the Palatine Aquilas, and hopefully we might get lucky and pin somebody. Command squad in the middle moved up towards the Tactical Marines, and Rich wisely moved backwards, adding to the distance that I would need to charge. But that does help me because it pushes both of his scoring units no longer within scoring that objective, and he doesn't have anything to contest at the moment. The Tartarus squad here, I forgot to mention as well, they activated their Cult Arcana so that they are on a 4-up invuln right now. The other Tartarus also activated their Cult Arcana successfully on a 4-up invuln, and they've moved around through the gap, allowing them to declare a charge potentially. The Iron Hands Tactical Squad stayed still. They're going to basically just Fury the Legion because they're probably not long for this world and they can't get away from the Palatine Aquilas. And then finally, the last thing is we moved over the Javelins here, who this turn, thankfully there's no night fight and they're not stupid. They're going to lend their firepower into one of the targets on this side of the board as well. So hopefully we can do some damage in the shooting phase.
No miscommunications between the 2 legions this time.
No miscommunications. Turn 2 shooting for the Thousand Suns and Iron Hands was a bit better than the first turn, but hopefully it's not too late. So starting with the Heavy Support Squad, we elected to focus on killing off the TAC squad on this objective marker over here, and we fired 10 cracks and hit 10 times, wounded 10 times. But thanks to tanking on the Artificer plus a Shroud, I only killed 3 of the Tactical Marines over there, but they did fail their check and ran.
Yeah, we were right at the edge of the table. We were 10 inches away from the edge. We rolled a 9. We're still around. We can rally. We can come back. On the bright side, that unit there is not going to kill us.
So that frees up the Occult Blades over here to actually charge that Contemptor, believe it or not. And I did activate my Psychic ability, so I am actually at a weapon skill 6, making it much harder for that Contemptor to hit me. I may end up doing that over there. The Contemptor here and the Sekhmet went ahead and fired into this Contemptor, who they're going to charge in just a moment. The only thing that wounded was the las cannon of this Contemptor, and unfortunately one of the invulns was passed, so I only did 1 wound with everything there. Coming over here to the middle, well, you can see 3 dead rotor cannons, and that usually means we failed our Cult Arcana. So we were attempting to increase the pinning ability. We failed. Perils of the Warp, 3 dudes dead, and it was pretty bad. We went ahead and we shot at the Palatine Aquilas, hoping to trigger that pinning, and we did actually score a wound, and there was a guy that was wounded, so he died. But the resulting pin check, even with the -1, unfortunately was not enough to actually pin them. That would have been really, really helpful. In the middle, the Praetor went ahead and activated his Biomancy, giving the unit +1 strength, +1 toughness. The unit itself fired their combi bolters at the attack squad that moved away from them, attempting to pin them. We did kill one of the models, but we didn't pin that squad. The Iron Hands right here were actually a bit successful. They did not move, and they activated a Fury of the Legion. That Fury of the Legion was pretty successful, and it did 2 full wounds, killing one of the Palatine Aquilas. And then finally, we came over here to the Javelins, who unloaded everything, including their Hunter Killers, into the Aquilas, who did Shroud, which was probably a good thing because it was all the weaponry from the Javelins was bypassing their Feel No Pain. We did kill, I think, a couple more of the Palatine Aquilas. So we did shrink that squad down, but unfortunately they passed their break check as well. Going to be a couple critical charges, and I might get lucky, but let's see what happens. Turn to assault for the Thousand Suns and Iron Hands, and it actually started out what looked like it was going to be really, really good. So the Kentai went ahead and made their way in there. They had a massive amount of attacks, and they actually rolled really well to hit and to wound. But sadly, the Contemptor passed everything that he needed to pass. He passed the Rend on the Invuln, and he passed all the non-Invuln saves. And in return, he squished the Apothecary. I elected to lose the Apothecary because it's only a 1-wound model because he only hit wounded once. We did stick, which is helpful, but I really thought I was going to actually do some damage to that Contemptor. But it is what it is. Over here in the middle, same thing. You would think that 4 Sekhmet and a Contemptor charging into an opposing Contemptor would kill it, but no. My Contemptor whiffed on all 4 of his attacks. The Sekhmet were a bit better, sneaking 3 wounds through. And in return, 1 guy got smushed by the enemy Contemptor. But we did win the combat, but he's fearless, so we're just kind of stuck there. Unfortunate, but in some ways it could be good because it protects us from incoming fire. Over here in the middle, the command squad tried to charge and rolled double 1s, which is pretty much par for the course on this game. The other Tartarus regular Terminator squad with claws was much more successful. They went ahead and charged into the same original target that the command squad was going for. As you can see, that many lightning claws, we butchered through the whole squad, including the sergeant, before he could even swing.
I did hold the line, but that doesn't help when I'm all dead.
No, it doesn't. We rolled a massive number of hits and wounds with those claws. It was pretty ugly. So we did wipe out that 1 scoring squad, which is huge, and we did kind of protect the objective from that other squad from getting close to it. All in all, better turn 2, but still not enough, and we're really struggling uphill here. I am down 1-0, and it's going to remain 1-0 because Rich is not going to be able to score anything in his turn. But depending on how his shooting goes, we'll see what happens with turn 3 from the Emperor's Children.
Movement phase, turn 3 of the Emperor's Children. We didn't score any points because everything is contested at this point in time. Our Palatine Blades Aquilas, since they cannot score, they've gone after the scoring unit and have made their full movement up to 1 inch away from the Iron Hands tactical squad, who elected not to do anything.
That's correct. I can't get out of your charge range, and you got so close to me to the 1 inch that there's no moving towards you, so I really don't need to do anything there. I kind of contemplated whether I would move with the command squad or the other Tartarus squad, but there was nothing that I could do that would actually be useful, so I just elected to let it happen.
Yeah. Our tactical squad really can't afford to move. They are in danger, but we have to unleash a volley of fire at these guys to hopefully kill them. That's really the only way it's going to happen here. The Cacophony elected not to move because they're in perfect position to shoot. The Plasma Squad moved forward because we wanted to get within shooting range of that Tartarus unit, and now they are. We'll be doing some nice shooting there. The Contemptor moved forward because he's going to charge into the Sekhmet here. If 2 Contemptors of the Emperor's Children can't do what they need to do in this close combat, then I don't really know what they have to do for the rest. The command squad is still within scoring. If I move them at all, I'd be isolating the 1 guy who is in with scoring distance for a potential instant kill from these crack missiles, I kind of want the ablative wounds that are available to me. So they are staying put. If needs be, later on they might charge in. This one here is still locked in combat, and at the very beginning of the turn, I forgot to mention, we did manage to rally our lone tactical squad. They can't get within scoring range this turn, but if we kill everything on this side of the board and they don't get shot to death by crack grenades again, they could survive, but we shall see in the shooting phase. It's going to be critical for the Emperor's Children. We really need to do some work down on this Terminator squad. Shooting phase for the Emperor's Children, and this is where everything happened, because this is the one thing we needed to kill, and we didn't sadly do enough. We started with opening fire with the Fury of the Legion here, and we managed to cause 1 wound, which wasn't great, but still okay. Then from the Plasma Squad, we managed to cause another wound from their firing, but we did lose the first guy who was rapid firing into this. Our Cacophony were very unsuccessful. We had a lot of wounds. We also lost 3 of our own guys, including the Sergeant, to their own gets hot there, which was unfortunate. But these guys just saved everything. I think 17, right?
No, it wasn't that many. You did a lot of hits, but actually your wound rolls, I saved all 9.
Oh, was it 9? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was 9 2-ups, and I saved all of it, so therefore I couldn't get pinned, and you didn't do any damage.
Yeah, so that forced us to shoot crack. And since everybody was in line of sight, even the guys on the ground, and everybody was in the 48-inch range, we shot all 10 crack, and finally we managed to kill 2 more of them with instant death there. And that was helpful, but not helpful enough because they didn't pass. They did pass their break check, right?
We did, yes. So you did 7 wounds with the missile launchers. I failed 2, which was enough to trigger the check, but I successfully rolled an 8. So I stuck, which is fantastic because that's another scoring unit that's still alive, but it also has a chance to go blenderize your tacts in the next turn.
Yeah, the debate what we do with our charging. Do we come after these guys or do we just go for the tactical squad? We'll see in the assault phase. Assault phase for the Emperor's Children, and it was carnage over here with the Palatine Blades Aquila. We successfully charged, and you activated your advanced reaction for the Iron Hands.
Yeah, the Iron Hands, we went ahead and did the Gorgon's Spite, but even though we scored a massive amounts of hits and wounds, you just rolled so hot that we didn't do a single point of damage.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a Palatine Blade Squad against normal TAC Marines, you can see what happened.
Yeah, it was very one-sided. Everything died before they could strike back. And we consolidated backwards a bit. We are still vulnerable to some shooting from the other side. And potentially, I don't know what they want to do here. I don't think they're going to be coming after this. But we'll see. In the middle, we charged in successfully with the Contemptor. And striking first, he managed to kill 2 of the Sekhmet. And in a response, at the same initiative step, my Contemptor managed to hit all 3 times, causing 9 brutal wounds. So 3 wounds, brutal 3s, 9 wounds. You failed all but 1, so died, but managed to kill me on the way back.
Yeah, I killed you on the way back, which was a small victory, but I was shocked to see that happened. I thought for sure I was going to last another turn, but alas, it's not to be. The remaining Sekhmet that was still alive, he swung, he didn't do anything, and then he proceeded to get run down because obviously all the wounds that were done between there and there. So yeah, that was a little bit bad for me. I would have liked to stick for 1 more turn, but that's okay. We did stick, however, over on this side.
You did stick over there, so I managed to hit twice and wound nothing, rolling 2 1s, and on the way back you managed to wound me I think 4 times, and I saved all 4 of those saves on a 2+. None of them were ending. Drawn combat there. Pretty successful. We've whittled down a scoring unit from the Iron Hands and Thousand Suns, but our remaining scoring unit over here is in danger. But on the bright side, it looks like there's very little to contest our 1 scoring point for our command squad over here. Let's see how this plays out for the Thousand Suns.
Turn 3 from the Thousand Suns, and we got to see if we can snatch somehow victory out of the jaws of defeat. I didn't move anything in the middle because I was very afraid about triggering reactions, and to be honest, nobody needs to really move where they're at. This is a scoring unit that is within scoring of this. They want to go charge into the tactical squad, and we don't want to trigger these guys doing any shenanigans, and we want to still be able to shoot them. So that's why we didn't move anything over there. On my left flank, I did, however, move back the javelins, still staying within 24 inches for that instant killing lovely goodness on the multi-meltas. We did move the rotors in the middle just a bit. They are shuffling around the building to keep shooting at the Palatine Aquilas, but stay out of the plasma gunners. Nothing else moved, because there's nothing else left alive over here, or it's locked in combat. So it was very short and sweet movement for the Thousand Suns. We'll come back and try and shoot in a moment. Shooting for the Iron Hands and Thousand Suns, we started with the javelins unloading everything they could into the Palatine Blades, who elected to shroud, and shockingly we didn't kill anything with everything that we hit, which is a dang shame.
I was rolling hot, I won't lie.
You're rolling very hot all game with the 5-ups. The rotor cannons also activated. They took the risk and they activated their Cult Arcana to increase the pinning ability. We did manage to sneak through a couple wounds on them, but unfortunately they were passed and not pinned.
2-ups and 5-ups.
Yes, both of the Terminators here, the command squad, well, the Praetor activated his Biomancy to give them +1 strength, +1 toughness. But they shot attempting to pin that tac squad, unsuccessful. The one guy with a combi bolter on the Tartarus squad shot, unsuccessful. And then coming over here to the crack missile launchers, we attempted, you would think that 10 cracks hitting on a 2-up could take care of the last 3 tactical Marines from the Emperor's Children over here. But unfortunately, thanks once again to great rolls on Shroud and on tanking, I only killed 2 TAC Marines and they didn't break, so that's still a potential pain in my backside. We'll come to the assault phase in just a moment. I might be able to wipe out one more TAC squad. We'll see what happens. Assault phase for the Thousand Suns and Iron Hands. This was actually a lot more successful. We were successful in activating the Kentai Blade Occult special ability. I always forget the name, the Mind Song of Blades. They scored a lot of hits, and they actually snuck through 4 Wrens, and Rich failed all 4 of them. So we got 4 wounds through. We didn't take any wounds in return, which was amazing.
I keep rolling badly on that one.
Yes, so that was good. Good for me. Less good over here. The only squad that charged was the Tartarus, and Rich activated his advanced reaction.
Yeah, so we rolled off, and I did win the roll-off, so I charged in first, meaning I get to strike first, and key, I get to strike first with my fist in a challenge there.
That's correct. My Lightning Claw did some work, though. He killed 3 normal guys.
Yep, but I got 1 wound through, and you failed to save it on your 5+, because you didn't activate your 4+ in your turn there, because you didn't want to move.
That's correct.
So I caused 2 wounds there, you caused 3 wounds, but I have a Vexilla, which gives me +1, so that is a drawn combat here. We are sticking. It's tricky now. It's going to be very tricky.
It's tricky, but I'll actually take that, believe it or not, because it is your turn 4 coming up, and we are stuck there, which prevents you from actually going and contesting or doing anything on an objective. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Turn 4 coming up in just a moment.
Movement phase, turn 4 for the Emperor's Children. We took our Palatine Blades and we decided to move them normally instead of activating the jump packs for this, which means that our assault would be a bit longer as well, but we're close enough, hopefully, that it doesn't matter. We just didn't want to roll 1s. We don't have invols on this unit, so it is a bit painful. Our Cacophony came out and they are trying to get some line of sight on this missile launcher squad because they are whittling down our point scoring units. And I want to maybe pin them, maybe return some fire, we don't know. Same for the Plasma Squad. The Plasma Squad is going to shoot at this same heavy support squad here. They've also moved onto the point just as a denial. They are a bit vulnerable, but they've got some some Artificer saves and also a Feel No Pain. We'll see what happens. We have finally taken our command squad out of cover. They have come on to consolidate straight onto the point and hold it. They are in shots of this missile launcher squad, but honestly the missile launcher squad has a lot of things shooting at it, or shooting options, so really is something we have to do. Our Contemptor has decided that his little brother, because he is a little brother apparently, needs some help and has moved forward to give him a hand because he is failing miserably at doing what he needs to do. And our one lone tactical squad sergeant has run onto the point. There is no way for him to get any cover from shooting from the missile launcher squad. But again, is that what their target is going to be? Our missile launcher squad in the back has stayed put. There is really very little it can do at this point other than shoot at the missile launcher squad in return, which it may do to draw out some reaction fire. We'll see what happens in the shooting phase next. Shooting phase for the Emperor's Children, and mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made.
The Palatine Blade Aquila squad decided to shoot their bolt pistols, forgetting that the Warlord has Stoic Defender, which causes all his attacks to pin.
Yes.
So I only got 5 bolt pistol shots, measly bolt pistols, with no wounds. He shot back with all his bolters and managed to cause 1 wound, so I did have to take a pinning check.
Yes.
But thankfully, I passed that.
You did.
So we're not in too much trouble. But still, tactical mistake. And that was the sum of the games here, because it was tactical mistake after tactical mistake.
Yeah, a few mistakes made on both sides, forgetting things, but it happens.
I started with the missile launchers shooting into his missile launchers. I managed to kill 1 measly guy, and then is when the mistakes started to happen.
Yes.
I think I should have changed the order, but the fact is, I shot my plasma squad first, and he decided to return fire with frag.
Yes, I returned fire with frag because you were nice and clumped.
Yeah, 47 wounds.
41 or 47, or hits.
47 hits, yes.
Yes.
And then I basically lost more than I killed, because I think I killed 1.
I killed
2.
You killed 2 guys, but in return I killed 5.
Yeah, I
6.
killed 5. And then my cacophony decided to take part, which they should have shot first to try and pin, but they killed more of themselves than they did kill the Iron Hands, because you saved everything.
Yeah, for the first time in this entire game, I actually did what I needed to, and that was tank some wounds on the Sergeant. I tanked 4 on the Sergeant, and I tanked 5 more on regular guys, and I also spiked a couple Feel No Pains, so no casualties.
And no pinning check there either.
No, but I did lose 3, but I did pass my break check. So yeah, my missile launcher squad somehow managed to cause more devastation in your phase than in my own.
Yeah, it's funny how the Iron Hands are doing more work than the Thousand Suns here.
Yeah, no comment. I think it's well known that the Thousand Suns aren't the best of legions, but it's all good. We're having fun.
We'll be back with the assault phase, and we have a few assaults. Assault phase, and we started with the lone Tartarus Terminator against the tactical squad, and we managed, as you can see, to kill him off with the Power Fist. It was very touch and go at the end. We took a wound and took it on a normal guy. The Power Fist came in the end and plinked off a instant death. So we are going to consolidate that probably towards the next objective. This combat was much more spicy. So the champion has to challenge. So he did challenge, and you accepted with a normal guy with a with a Thunderhammer, right?
Yeah, and I had to, because since I was only on a 5-up invuln and I wanted my Praetor to swing, it was actually ended up being the good choice, because you murdered me with a murderous strike.
Yes, so it was 1 guy died, and I also caused an extra wound, so 3 to the combat res there. But me striking back with everything else, I failed to get any of the Rens, which I really needed.
Or the murderous strikes.
Well, they both did at the same time, yeah.
Yeah. So you only did 1 wound with everybody else.
Yeah, 1 wound with everybody else. And taking it back, those Thunderhammers really hurt, even though the Sonic Shriekers were giving you -1.
Yeah, it was hammer time. And I mean, the Praetor managed to kill 2 guys successfully. The rest of the squad, the Banner Bearer, the other guy killed another 2. So I did end up winning the combat actually by 4, but thanks to the special rule of the Emperor's...
No, it's the champion.
Legion champion, excuse me.
Since he's in a challenge, the entire assault is fearless.
That's correct.
As long as I'm still in that challenge there.
Correct.
So next turn I won't be, because I finished the challenge, but we're still around. Again, not so good in the last combat over here. We did charge in. We did get to strike first with 4 attacks. We needed 5s. We whiffed all 5s with the charging Contemptors. The engaged Contemptor whiffed all 5 again, and then your guys came in with their rendings and managed to blow up the one guy.
Yeah, this is so crazy. So the Kentai Blades, that Mind Song of Blades psychic ability that really bumps up their weapon skill to 6 has just been huge, because you haven't been able to hit me, but I've been able to also, between the combination of that and force, I've been able to sneak through some wounds and finally kill that 1 Contemptor.
So, combat phase done there. We were in a good position, now a bit more iffy. Attrition is definitely on the board, as I've been a bit greedy. We'll see what happens at the end of turn 4.
Turn 4 for the Iron Hands and Thousand Suns, and I have to play now for attrition or kill the Warlord, because there's no way that I can score any objectives. I only got 1 unit that's left. The good news is that thanks to mistakes being made, I actually may be able to snag attrition in this turn, depending on how the shooting goes. I moved the Javelins forward to make sure they were within 24 to try and kill this tack squad over here that's threatening that objective, and with only 3 members of that squad, this might be actually easy for me. I moved the rotor cannons also out, and the reason why is I want to be able to try and shoot up that plasma if needed. I do open myself up to some return fire, some missile launcher shots, but not very many. And that's it. That's all I have to move, so I'm just really trying to maximize and hopefully kill a couple units this turn. Shooting for the Thousand Suns and Iron Hands, we started with the Javelins, and they did what they needed to do, which was actually to kill the 3 remaining members of that attack squad, not only for attrition, but to prevent you from getting onto that objective. We did just enough to actually kill the 3 of them, which was very, very lucky. Next up was the rotor cannons. We took the risk and we went ahead and fired into the plasma gunners, even though we knew that there would probably be a reaction. We scored a decent amount of hits, but only 3 wounds.
And I saved all on the sergeant there. My return fire managed to get 1 breaching, which took out 1 guy, and you saved the 2 remaining wounds?
That's correct. And then the last shooting was from my missile launcher squad, again, trying to wipe out this last annoying tactical sergeant on that objective. They finally did it. They snuck through the wound that they needed, and they killed him. So this was huge. I'm still down 2-0 in the bottom of the 4th, but I may actually have a chance for attrition. And you're only going to have 1 objective in turn 5, so this might come down to the wire, surprisingly.
Yep, it could.
We'll see what happens with this this last combat in the middle. The assault phase for the Thousand Suns, and well, it's just Thousand Suns because no Iron Hands are in combat. The command squad put in some work with the Praetor.
Very painful.
Even with Rich activating what was a perfect guard.
Perfect guard to help. Losing attack. Help, -1 to weapon skill for you guys hitting. Didn't help at all. Those Thunderhammers really hurt. I managed to murder strike 1 guy with my champion and his power sword, his Paragon Blade.
Yep.
But sadly, I just couldn't get the murderous strikes back with the Phoenix Spears there.
No, you couldn't. You murder strike 1 guy, you put a wound on the Praetor, but then in return, the Praetor and the Banner Bearer swung and managed to hit and wound 4 times. Smushing all 4 guys after the champion failed his 5-up invuln. So that's huge for me, because that basically means that
You're on the point now.
I'm on the point now.
Yeah.
All right. And then the never-ending combat between Kentai Blade Occult and Contemptors.
I finally got some hits in. I
You
killed
finally
2 of
did.
them.
Yes, you killed 2 of them, including 1 that was wounded already. I swung back. I did actually rend you 3 times, but you got some good invulns yourself.
So you passed 1. I failed 1, and then...
I passed my check.
Yeah, you passed your check. So that's held for what, 4 rounds now? 3 rounds? A lot.
A lot. Actually, 3 turns, 2 rounds each turn. Yeah. That's like 6 rounds of combat. It's crazy. We'll go into turn 5, which could possibly be the last turn of the game in just a moment.
Movement phase for the Emperor's Children. We moved our plasma squads into rapid fire range of the command squad there. There's only 3 guys left, 6 shots. You elected to do a little shuffle.
Yeah, I tried to shuffle myself basically through movement reaction to try and minimize the amount of shots. But if I did that, I would have taken myself off of the objective, which I can still score a point if I'm still alive. So yeah, I did what I could, but I couldn't stop myself from getting shot by everything.
Same for the Cacophony there. There's 3 Cacophony, another 3 shots each there that have moved into range of the Standard Bearer only. So he's going to have to tank all of those shots. The command squad scored a point at the beginning of the turn. So now that they've scored a point, they're realizing this guy is murdering their Contemptors there. So they've come to finish that off. They're still within scoring distance, and they can potentially consolidate back if they win this combat. We'll see how that goes next. I think that's everything for the movement phase. We've still got these missile launchers in the back. They have not moved at all game, and they're still in range for some shooting. We'll be back with the shooting phase next. Shooting phase for the Emperor's Children, and we started off with the Cacophony. They shot into the Standard Bearer, which is the only thing that could be seen. They managed to cause 7 wounds, and the fact is, he saved every single one on a 2+.
I did. I spiked all 7.
So no wounds caused there. We really needed some wounds on this. More successful on the other side. We had 3 guys shooting in rapid fire. We managed to get 2 Rens and 2 normal saves. You took the 2 Rens on your Praetor with a Shroud.
The 2 breaches. Yeah, I took him on the Praetor. He failed his invuln and failed his Shroud, but the reason why I did that is because I did not want to cause a break check. Yeah. And then the remaining normal wounds I took on the Standard Bearer, and
he is fine.
He's fine.
Yeah, that's painful. On the plus side, we took 4 crack shots at the rotor cannons. We hit with 2, we killed with 2. You shrouded there as well, but that wasn't successful.
No, I only passed one of the shrouds. You wounded 4 times with crack, and I passed. No, you wounded 3 times with crack, and I passed one of the shrouds. And then I ended up failing the brake check. So the remaining 2 rotor cannons are running, and hopefully they can rally and not be counted as destroyed should the game end.
Yep. We'll move into the assault phase. There's only 1 assault over here because everything else rapid fired. And I do not want to be taking these guys into assault with a squad of, well, maybe, we'll see. Assault phase, and finally, the Emperor's Children have managed to kill the last of this Kentai Blade Occult. We have been going after these guys for many, many rounds in close combat. They are very durable. That weapon skill 6 really does add to it. And I wish I'd shot them before. And it took my command squad of Phoenix Terminators to come in and, of course, wipe them out.
Yeah, I got to give props to that squad. It's probably the lone bright spot in the game for the Thousand Suns, and probably in the Thousand Suns list. But yeah, they do some work.
So that was the end of the Emperor's Children turn 5. We've got the Thousand Suns next.
Turn 5 for the Thousand Suns and Iron Hands, and we started by attempting to rally the rotor cannons, and they were successful on a 5, which was really, really good.
I wanted them to run. I needed it.
Yes, that could have had an effect on attrition, actually, because it's really, really close. The only other movement I had was the Javelins just repositioned a little bit. They're going to take out, hopefully, these Plasma Gunners. The Praetor and the Standard Bearer just repositioned here. We just got to stay alive and try and hopefully score that objective again in turn 6. We did score it in turn 5, so we're currently down 3-1. But again, surprisingly close game. It's really going to come down to what happens with attrition and whether or not we have a turn 6. So we'll be back with shooting in a moment. So turn 5 summary for the Thousand Suns and Iron Hands. We won't have any assaults, so we'll go ahead and just sum it all up right here. I fired first the Javelins into that Plasma squad, and thanks to some great shrouding rolls, that squad only lost 1 guy. I then fired my crack missile launcher squad into that same squad, and thanks to some
bad rolls from you.
Bad rolls from me, plus good rolls on your Artificer. Nobody died.
Yeah, 3 wounds.
Shocking.
Yeah.
And did not break.
Yeah, you also shot with the 1 lone guy. Managed to get a hit, but no wound.
Yeah, so the lone rotor cannon snapshot it, but he didn't really do anything. We'll see in a moment if we have a turn 6 or not.
And we get a turn 6 on a 4+, and I think, Jason, you won it, and I really don't, to be honest.
If there's a turn 6, it gives me a chance, so yeah, go ahead.
That's a 3. We have no turn 6. I think it's going to come down to attrition because the score is 3-1.
So as you saw in the game, we did not have a turn 6, and at the end of turn 5 and the end of the game, it was 3-1 for the Emperor's Children. But we did tally up the units, and I managed to score attrition, which is actually D3. Nobody lost a Warlord, so there was no secondary points for that. On a roll of a 3 or a 4, I score 2 attrition points, and we end up with a 3-3 tie. On a 1 or a 2, I score 1, and I lose. On a 5 or a 6, I score 3, and I end up winning 4-3. So let's see what happens. You're going to watch the roll live. And it's a 1. It's a 3-2 win to the Emperor's Children.
We'll be back with the post-game analysis. So that's the end of the game. It all came down to a dice roll.
And my dice were atrocious all game long. You never want to blame the dice being atrocious, but they were really bad.
Yeah.
And of course, I rolled a 1 for the D3 on the attrition secondary.
Yeah. So the Emperor's Children managed to sneak a sneaky victory out of there. Honestly, I think we nearly threw it away.
You made some mistakes there in turn 3 that almost gave me the game, actually. So yeah, play the mission.
Yeah,
Quit getting greedy.
I know, but I was playing. Honestly, I was so proud at the beginning. I was playing the mission. I was killing your scoring units.
They were killing me.
We were having the discussion off cameras, like, didn't expect me to go this way and kill these veterans. And I was like, play the mission. I'm learning. But then as the game went on, the bloodlust came back.
I forgot all about it. Yes.
And it was, I want to kill more. And I just took things out of position that shouldn't have been. I should have protected some scoring a bit more. But I don't think there was really much I could have done with the 2 tactical squads in the corner.
No, I totally agree. But at the same time, I think you gave me some unnecessary shots that you probably shouldn't have. But no, I mean, it was just a heck of a game. It was really enjoyable. After turn 1 and in turn 2, I just thought I was dead.
Yeah.
And we were just playing it out because it wouldn't have been fun just to actually watch a 2-turn game. But it just goes to show you that, hey, anything can happen. And it really did happen the way that you saw it on screen.
Yeah, the dice were with me at the beginning, started failing me at the end.
Yep.
But I will say, for one of your units, I think it's your man of the match unit, just ridiculous.
So I've never played Thousand Suns. Never. Not in 1.0, not in 2.0. That's why I'm so happy to get this army, because I've always wanted a nice Thousand Suns army. And I built it, but I did have somebody else paint it because of time. The Kentai Blade Occult are ridiculous when they get off their little buffs that they get.
Psychic check.
Yeah, I mean, a weapon skill 6 unit.
+1 attack.
And force on the swords when you activate the swords.
Exactly, no.
Sickness. Yeah, that's my man of the match. They're all going to get promoted, I think, into a command squad.
Yeah, I honestly thought after I'd taken this sergeant out that I'd have a better chance. But still, those 3 guys, 4 attacks each when you get your thing off. They're strength 7 with all the buffs, because +1, then +2. They killed my Contemptors, and they held them up, hitting on 5s. Weapon skill is such a key thing in this latest edition.
Yeah, that weapon skill 6 was just ridiculous. And I wasn't rolling well at first, but then towards the end of it, they started rolling a lot of Rens.
Yeah.
Which was actually really, really good. So yeah, absolutely my man of the match, the Kentai Blade Occult. I really like that unit.
Yeah. For me, they're really always my man of the match, but that's just because they do so much work. It's the Palatine Blade Aquillas. Even though they kind of whiffed at the end, they did what they needed to do. They're not a scoring unit. They came in and they killed 2 of your scoring units.
Yep.
The veterans got eradicated off the board without any touch. And so did your tactical squad from the Iron Hands.
Yeah.
Though I will say, I think I made a mistake, but I didn't really have much choice. That you just shouldn't charge these guys and expect reliability when you charge them into elite terminators.
Yeah, the Praetor and Command Squad actually put in some work as well. Now, you did have a bad dice roll on the turn that you charged in. You probably should have killed another 1 or 2 models. And I just rolled really well, and those Thunderhammers were just smashing folks.
Thunderhammers, like, if you do not kill the Thunderhammers, they will kill you in the return. It's not even the Brutal 2s, it's just their AP 2 and their instant deathing strength 8.
Yep.
Very, very deadly here. And sadly, the Phoenix Spears and the Phoenix Rapiers, even though they are better than the previous edition, they're still relying on that 6 Ren/Murderous Strike/Breaching 6, depending on which weapon it is there, to do damage against AP2 models. Otherwise, they're sitting ducks. And even with their shenanigans of Perfect Guard or the Perfect Offensive one, it's a unit that's designed to kill AP3 models, veterans, so 3+ models, not Terminators.
Or basic Terminators.
Yeah, basic Terminators. Or the lower weapon skill, you're right.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lower weapon
yeah,
skill
yeah.
there. I think it works. But honestly, a load of fun. It was nice to play a Centurion style game again, just because it's more boys over toys.
I mean, do you even Heresy if you don't play with a lot of infantry? Like, I'm sorry, right? I mean, all of my lists already have a lot of infantry. But again, you play how you want to play. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to criticize you whatsoever. But change it up every once in a while. I mean, this infantry-heavy game was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. It's a lot of moving. It takes a bit more time. But honestly, it's just nice to have boys on the field. Otherwise, vehicles aren't in a great place in this edition. They blow up too easy. And we've seen it countless times in our games.
Yep.
I like having this many infantry here. Next time I'm bringing more cacophony. But yes. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the game. We were happy to bring it to you, and it was honestly a pleasure for us to bring the Thousand Suns for the first time. We're hoping to get more of the Thousand Suns in the future, and I think it's safe to say I need to start painting a few more armies myself, because the Emperor's Children, I love them, but I need to get my hands on some more Dark Angel paints.
Or some different Emperor's Children.
Different Emperor's Children, but so many. So many Dark Angels in the plans. But look, we'll be back soon with another battle report and a Heresy Thursday, so stay tuned. If you haven't already, please subscribe to get notified of our latest releases. And hitting the like icon on this video really helps us with the algorithm at YouTube. We are trying to grow. It is slowly but surely getting there. But we'd love your support. And for all those who support us in the comments, thank you very much. We love to see it. It really keeps us up on this.
Yes, keep the comments coming. We love the interaction. We love to reply. And we do really appreciate all the support. So thank you very much. And we will catch you on the next one.